Guys, today we're going to review the last session, which was about nominalization of verbs. And we're going to do a bit more of that this week as well for the new practice. Now, it's quite important really to, by the end of this, to feel a little bit comfortable about nominalization, because nominalization is used a lot in conversation. So if you're not kind of familiar with how it's used, then you can end up misinterpreting what somebody's saying, or it's difficult to actually express yourself. For example, if you want to say, I like studying, then this is going to be difficult unless you understand nominalization. So if at any point you're still kind of feeling a little bit like, I don't get it, even basic stuff about what nominalization is, then just say, we can look at it in a bit more detail. Okay. So first question, what's nominalization? Actually, I should ask this question. Do you know basically what nominalization is?
Turning the verb to noun.
Yeah, so this is quite it's quite language specific really. So in some language, in Japanese for example, a verb is completely converted into a noun through nominalization. In other languages, it's either done partially or completely. So for example, I just saw one the other day actually for English, which was here we go. Activate is a verb, and we would turn this into activity, which turns it into a noun. So they're actually two completely different words, of course, activate and activity, but they've got a connection between them to talk about something being active. Now, perhaps in your own languages, guys, you've got similar where sometimes an entire, let me give you another example in English, the word house. We can actually use the word house by itself and turn it into, from a noun, into a verb. If I house some people, it means I put people into a house. This is a verb. And although it's pronounced slightly differently, it's spelled exactly the same way. So you'd have to see it in context in a sentence to understand if I mean it as a verb or as a noun. So that's a complete conversion from a noun to a verb to a noun. Then we've got these other partial ones like activate and activity. And then that's also got a midpoint adjective, hasn't it? Active, activate, activity. We've got a noun, an adjective and a verb, because these are all come from the Latin roots, don't they? So there's going to be the same basic root, which becomes different parts of grammar. Now, in your own languages, you probably have something very, very similar. Just be aware that in Japanese, there's almost, most of the time, it's done completely, a complete conversion from a verb to a noun, and it's done in one of two ways. That's all you have to remember, really. Okay, let's look at what we did a few weeks ago. This was back here. Okay, so this turns a verb into an object or a subject in a sentence. And we've already actually done, excuse me, we've already done this to a certain degree with koto in the past. All of you have done at least two versions of this, which is, for example, namasakana o taberu koto ga dekimasu. So this talks about ability, potential. So we put the verb namasakana o taberu into a nominalized form using koto and say, I can do it, which means I can do the eating of raw fish. I can do the eating of raw fish. Hey, Sophie. Sophie, you've just turned up at the wrong part. You should be here like 5 minutes ago.
I'm totally intimidated today.
Sorry?
I'm totally intimidated today with all the women.
I know, it's weird, isn't it? Thursday, Friday morning is hanging out with a ladies session. And Hawaii ni itta koto ga arimasu, or arimasu ka in the question. So this, of course, is putting this into the plain past form. Been to Hawaii, I have the going to Hawaii experience. So this refers to having an experience. Everybody okay so far? Okay. Now, if we were in a similar way, but slightly differently, if we want to say that the doing of something is another noun, like eating raw fish is my hobby, or going to Hawaii is my target in life, then we do something similar, just using koto to nominalize the verb. So if you want to say, my hobby is climbing mountains. So this is a noun here, important to now see this as, this is a noun, my hobby, and climbing mountains is also a noun, or what is long version, a nominalized verb. So noun equals noun. So this would be watashi no shumi wa yama o noboru koto desu. Let me just pick this up and stick it onto a whiteboard a second. Noun is noun. So watashi no shumi wa. Hi, Sophie.
Hi, everyone.
So this is noun number one, watashi no shumi, my hobby. And then wa, of course, is a kind of way of saying is, part of saying is. And then yama o noboru. Now, of course, this yama o noboru is a verb, but we turn it into a noun by saying koto, and then we need des, of course. I guess.
I have a small question.
Sure, go ahead.
Just to make sure, when you have even more information in the sentence, like if the hobby is climbing mountains every Tuesday, where would you put the time reference, in the beginning or after the wa, or doesn't it matter?
So we need to fix that reference to the actual thing that it's referring to. That's a really good question, actually, Tom. Let's do that. My hobby is climbing mountains on a Tuesday. Now, let me just reflect back to you. This on a Tuesday, is this a reference to climbing mountains, or is it a reference to your hobby?
For me, it will be for the mountains, but that's why
Right.
I asked, is it allowed to, because usually
Oh,
I
of
have
course.
does the meaning of the sentence change if I put that time reference in another position?
No, well, yes, it does. So, for example, if I want to do this in a kind of crude way of doing this, watashi no shumi wa, so that's noun one. Kayobi ni, let's do maishu no kayobi. Yama o noboru koto desu. So this means my hobby is climbing mountains on Tuesdays. But watashi no kayobi no shumi wa, of course, this should be maishu no kayobi. Watashi no maishu no kayobi no shumi wa, and then we say yama o noboru koto desu. This is, I mean, it doesn't really change the meaning of the sentence overall, but in terms of specific categorization, this second one is saying my Tuesday hobby is climbing mountains. It basically says the only hobbies I do on Tuesdays are climbing mountains. Whereas this first, let me just number these so you know what I'm talking about. Let me just repeat that. Number 2 means my only hobby on Tuesdays is climbing mountains. Number 1 means my hobbies include climbing mountains on Tuesdays. So we're not making smaller subcategories of hobbies. We're just saying amongst all of my hobbies, one of them is climbing mountains on Tuesdays. That's the meaning of number 1. Yeah.
So the second one is more showing a habit, or not?
Well, not really. It's just saying that you've got the only hobbies you have on Tuesdays are climbing mountains. This do you understand? If I say set theory, do you understand what this means? Like Venn diagrams.
Set theory, no.
Venn diagram.
Venn diagram, I know, but
you know Venn diagrams, right? So basically, this is just an alteration of the Venn diagram. The difference between number 1 and number 2. So it's saying that you've got. Let me. I won't do a proper Venn diagram, but these are your hobbies, and then there's a subset which is. Oh, come on. Sorry, people phoning stuff. You've then got a subset which is Tuesday hobbies, and the entirety of that Tuesday hobby is climbing mountains. This is number 2. Please, if I do that. This is number 2. Number 1 is I've got. Oh, sorry, make sure that's correct. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, so all of this is climbing mountains. So that's all your hobbies. The circle underneath is Tuesday hobbies, and then this overlaying the top of it is climbing mountains. Number 1 means these are all your hobbies, and one of them is specifically climbing mountains on Tuesdays. Doesn't really alter the overall meaning of the sentence, but it does if you're trying to say, but I also have a hobby on Wednesdays, which is climbing smaller hills, and Thursdays is walking into valleys. Then it starts to change the conversation.
So I get in my really head where the brackets start in the beginning, which I find confusing about nominalization.
Right.
That's why I ask. So which information is between the brackets before the koto or the no?
Yeah. So this is going to be in spoken form. It's slightly difficult to express that, except by putting pauses into the sentence. But actually in the written form, we've got wa to help us. This wa is this central pivot here. So this is separating one nominalized verb or one noun with another noun. So
like contrasts.
Yeah. So in case number 1, for example, the maishu no kayobi was on the right side of the wa, next to the yama on noboru koto. And in example 2, you can see that it's on the left side. Effie, did you have a question as well?
No, I just wanted to ask if it would be also possible to translate number 2 as, I think then in the end you explained it more, but I thought that the idea of translating the second is my Tuesday hobby is that, so that would mean that Wednesday you have something else, or right. Thursday, but I thought that it's like not that it's exclusively that, but like no, in the end I understood what you wanted to say, but in the beginning I thought you can translate it also like, among other hobbies the other days, my Tuesday hobby is this. Yeah, I mean, and actually that by having this as wa here, then this does infer that you've got a Tuesday hobby, and then you've also got a different Wednesday hobby. Exactly this. Yeah, because the first one, it doesn't necessarily imply that you have other hobbies on other days. You just go on Tuesday, right, to climb mountains. Exactly this. Yes, exactly this. Yeah, you're completely correct. Yeah, this is saying watashi no shumi wa. It doesn't necessarily mean doesn't exclude all other hobbies, but it is saying my hobby is. Yeah.
So you have to, there's not enough information to say whether or not you do have other
Yeah.
hobbies or not.
But I would think that in the second case, you actually have other hobbies as well, and you just want to say my Tuesday one is
Right.
this.
Yes,
So
exactly that. Yeah. And this does exclude, number 2 excludes other things from being your hobbies on Tuesdays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody okay? Cool. Okay, just one final point. Just like in maths, that this is basically saying A equals B, right? That noun A is nominalized verb B. As you probably know from maths, if A equals B, then B equals A. This means that you can do this either way. So you can say, for example, my hobby is climbing mountains. Hobby is climbing mountains. Oh, come on, typing skills. In English, you could also say climbing mountains is my hobby. And you can do exactly the same thing in Japanese. You can say, yama o noboru koto wa watashi no shumi desu, or watashi no shumi wa yama o noboru koto desu. It doesn't matter which way around you do this. Okay, now the most important thing at this point is to remember that this only uses koto. You can only use koto. There is another nominalization which is using no, but for this type with noun equals noun, you can only use koto. Tachi, how would you say my dream is to become a pilot?
私の夢はパイロットをなることです。
But not or. If you can have naru, ni. Exactly, yeah, good.
パイロットになることです。
Very good, excellent. 私の夢はパイロットになることです。And again with this one as well, you could say パイロットになることは私の夢です。You could turn it around the other way. Any questions, guys? Everybody okay? Sophie, are you okay? Are you muted at the moment?
Well, I've been away for a long time, so I'm just taking it easy. We'll see.
Sure, okay. So
Okay.
the only thing that you have to really remember about this particular lesson is what nominalization means. And all nominalization means is turning a verb into a noun. Like, for example, activate and activity. So activate is the verb, activity is the noun. Yeah. Effie or Constantina, do you have, like, in Greek, do you have a typical example of this as well that you can share?
In Greek, I think we used to use infinitive, the infinitive, infinitive version of a verb, and but it's based more in the ancient Greek, that it was one word, but you could translate it, to climb mountains, like you have in English the climbing, the ing.
Yeah.
We would use one word in ancient Greek that is like an infinitive, but now, because we don't use the ancient Greek version, we have to say to climb mountains is my hobby, for example.
Right. Oh, so it's really using the infinitive, isn't it?
Yeah. But since we don't use infinitives in Greek nowadays like this, I think we just, we just kind of translate the verb. I mean, like we would translate the infinitive of the ancient Greek in the but I think it used to be the infinitive to climb mountains, for example.
Right.
It's my hobby.
So can you say now to me in Greek, I will climb a mountain?
I will climb a mountain.
Yeah.
Θα ανέβω στο βουνό. Θα σκαρφαλώσω στο βουνό. So this is I will, θα ανέβω, θα σκαρφαλώσω. But if I would like to say climbing, it would be, I'm not even sure how to make the infinitive anymore, but like, yeah, kind of like made. I think it's made up. It's not completely correct. Scarfalonin. So it would be one word.
Yeah.
One word, but like in the ending, the suffix of the infinitive. But
Like
it's the same root. So it is indeed the same root, but the translation is more words nowadays.
Right, right.
No, we actually use it. Now I thought about το σκαρφάλω, most of you know.
Yeah, this is the noun.
It's a noun.
So this is the noun, but if you want to use a nominalized verb, you still have to keep the verb.
Yes. This is it.
No, this is the noun.
Yeah, this is the nominalization of the verb.
No, this is the noun. It's different to say nominalized verb, where with a noun it's a different
I don't know.
thing.
I was a mathematic girl. I didn't give a fuck about
Greek.
No, I think like, for example, like the example of the to activate. I think what would actually be accurate in Greek would be activating.
Right.
Like the translation would not be activity or activation. It would be the activating of something. So the climbing of the mountain is like, so not just the noun that we now have.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, you're right. In fact, I'm wrong. Activate, the nominalization is activation. Not activity. Yeah.
But we do use, of course, the noun. I think but nominalizing a verb is a different version. It's the gerund in English. It's like the ing. So we have similar things. I think they exist.
Yeah.
But for easy, like everyday speech, of course, you would use the noun in that case, if it exists.
Right. Right. Yeah. So Sophie, the reason why I'm asking about this is that in English, for example, we sometimes have a complete conversion of a verb into a noun, like the one we just said, activate and activation. And in other times we have a partial conversion, like the word house is a noun, and house, which is spelt the same way but pronounced differently, is a verb. So if I house somebody, it means I put somebody inside a house. So these are kind of partial nominalizations. But in Japanese, there's basically only two types. And they both do the same thing, which is a complete nominalization of the verb. So for example, taberu, to eat, and taberu koto means eating, the eating. Yeah. So it's best to probably understand this in the context of how it's used. For example, in this case, my dream is to become a pilot. My hobby is to climb mountains. My nightmare is trying to speak Italian with Italian people. Okay.
I think Sophia gets it because her first language is English, so it's easier to explain this in English. I think she got it.
It's difficult to wonder between the two of you which one is contaminated most.
No, Sophia can get it. I cannot translate anything in Greek anymore. I more resonate with everything in English, in Italian, than in Greek.
Okay, so let's move on to just see if we've got any exercises we can do just before we move on to that. Actually, hang on. Sorry, give me a second, guys. Let me just stop sharing because I don't want to be showing work screens on my Zoom. Oh yeah, let's do these ones. Okay, Tom, would you like to start?
Maishu no doyobi.
Sorry, this is actually the wrong type. Let's do number 2. We'll come back to number 1 in a second because that's a different type. Okay, go ahead.
Jenny-san no shumi wa
Good.
Kite.
Yep.
O atsumaru.
Ah, good. It's atsumeru. Atsumaru is
Atsumeru.
the intransitive. Atsumaru. Sorry, atsumeru is the transitive. Atsumaru is the intransitive.
Koto desu.
Good.
Atsumeru koto desu.
Excellent. Good. Koto desu. Okay. Everybody okay with that? Perfect. And then Constantina, let's jump on to number 4. My target is to pass geography exam this winter.
This winter. This year's winter. Kotoshi no fuyu.
Shinofuyu.
Watashi no target o.
Actually not. So target is mokyou.
Mokyou. Mokyou wa
Mm-hmm.
Geographies.
If your geography was better, you would know the name of South American country on the west coast.
Chile.
Very good.
Chile. Chile. Chile no Shinken. Chile no Shiken. So then you correct me. Chile no Shiken. Pass. Pass. No.
You can help.
Gohaku
That's it.
suru
Good.
koto desu.
Very good. Suru koto desu. So actually, this is in response to Tom's question. This is doing exactly now what we said was happening earlier. This is saying my target this winter, or this winter's target for me, is passing my geography exam. Whereas it depends how you read the original English. It doesn't really make it clear. Maybe it should be maybe watashi no mokyou wa kotoshi no fuyu ni chiri no shiken o goukaku suru koto desu. So maybe this kotoshi no fuyu could be moved, but I'm not going to worry about it, providing you're aware that this has some slight effect on the meaning of the sentence. That's fine. Effie, my job is repairing computers.
私の仕事は、パソコンを直す。
Good.
Is it? Yeah.
Yep.
直すことです。
Very good. Excellent. Cool. Just see if there's any other examples which were of this type. Just a second. No, that's it. Okay, cool. All right, is everybody comfortable with this? Put your hands up if you don't feel comfortable with this so far. Let's give everybody an example actually. Tachi, can you say my job is managing a Japanese culture center. Hai dozo. You're muted at the moment, by the way.
はい。私の仕事は日本文化センターをmanaging.
So there's actually a general, really easy verb for this. It's マネージする。
マネージすることです。
はい。マネージすることです。 Very good. And Sophie, how would you say my hobby is? I don't know. What is your hobby? And don't just say iaido. That's boring. That's everybody's hobby. Let's see. Let's say my hobby is. Go ahead. What is your hobby actually?
Well, I don't remember.
Let's say it's driving Porsches. Okay, that sounds like your kind of thing. Okay, hey dozo. You're muted at the moment, Sophie.
Okay, the easy part. Watashi no sumi.
Yep.
Wa.
Good.
Porsches. Porsche.
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 Mm-hmm.
What I think driving is unten suru.
Good. Or
Okay,
suru.
Suru. Koto desu.
Yeah, exactly this. Good. Okay. See, it's easy, really. Just stick koto in there. Any questions, guys? Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next section then. Okay, actually, guys, just before we go on to that section, in your notes, I now need you to write down, if you haven't already done this, you may have already done this in a previous session, the main note for this section that we've done so far is this. Noun 1 equals noun 2 is written as verb verb plus koto equals noun 2. Okay, this is the way we do this. So you must use koto. That's the most important thing. You must use koto if it's noun 1 equals noun 2. Tutti bene? Actually, I should learn this in Greek, seeing as the majority of the class today is Greek. How do you say tutti bene in Greek, Costa?
Όλα καλά.
Όλα καλά. Όλα καλά? Cool.
Ναι.
And what's minasan in Greek?
Only.
Olla kolla olli.
Όλα
kolla.
καλά.
Olla
Όλα.
kala. Olla kolla olli.
Καλά.
Oh, kala. Olla kala olli. Olla kala
You
olli.
said everybody asks.
Okay, right. Let's move on to no. When do we nominalize using no instead of koto? So the construction of this, we'll come on to the reason for it in a second. No, actually, we'll come on to this now. The next note is this then, which we'll make as a main note just here. If you want to say verb nominalized is adjective, then this should be verb in the plus no equals adjective. Okay. You'll understand what this means in just a second. So what I mean, in fact, let me explain it now. Let me give you an example. For example, I've said climbing mountains is my hobby. So noun equals noun. Now I want to say climbing mountains is fun. So this is now noun equals adjective. Climbing mountains is fun. So this is very clearly noun equals adjective. Okay. We must use no when we're talking. Oh, come on. Yeah. So the construction is verb in the plain form plus no plus wa or ga, and we'll come on to which one we use in a second, adjective des. Okay. Ola kala? Ola kala oli? Has that really been asses? Everybody's asses.
Kolos.
Kolos.
Oli, Koli, just be careful.
Oli koli. Okay, so just to be completely clear though, we can use koto in this place of no, but this is more like written Japanese. So if we're writing this down, for writing in an email or just writing a project, then we use koto, but if we're saying it, we should use no. For example, maybe I want to say soccer, football is interesting. I would just say soccer wa omoshiroi desu. But maybe I don't know if this means playing football is interesting, or watching football is interesting, or looking at photographs of footballers is interesting. So if I want to say playing football is interesting, then this is soccer o suru no wa omoshiroi desu. Or if I want to say watching football is interesting, then this is soccer o miru no wa omoshiroi desu.
So the playing of the football, the watching of the football is interesting.
Yeah, neither of course are true, but yeah. Now, whether you use wa or ga in this position here depends on the adjective that you're going to use to describe this nominalized verb. These, you need to write these down, guys, if you don't already have them. This is the list of adjectives that use wa. You'll need to copy these out if you don't know them.
Can I ask something in the meantime?
Of course.
So just to exclude other possibilities in my mind that might happen in the future. So we use these things mainly with a des, because everything is about being or like describing something about adjectives or something like that. So it's usually with des. We cannot find it with other verbs. Like, for example, I forgot. For example, I could not say.
You can use them. Basically, nominalizing a verb creates a noun, and now you can do with this whatever you want to do. So you could say to somebody, I know normally we use kata to say how to do something, but you could say, I taught playing football to my son. Musuko-san ni saka o suru koto o oshiemashita. You can do with it whatever you want, really.
Yeah, because I was thinking examples, and it was always coming to how to. For example, I forgot how to climb mountains, or I forgot. So I wouldn't translate, for example, I forgot climbing mountains in English. So I don't know if that exists in Japanese. So that's why I say, can you use it with other verbs, or is it like exclusively des, because you have to put it as a subject somewhere?
Okay, here's an example conversation. Effie-san, shumi wa nan desu ka? Effie, watashi no shumi wa ne, ryori suru koto to terebi o miru koto, game o suru koto, sono gurai desu ne. Watashi. Sore dake desu ka? Chotto matte. Yama o noboru koto o surumashita.
What was it, surimashita?
Yama o noboru koto. I forgot about climbing mountains. So it's not.
Yeah, but then, but this means I forgot that this is also, that climbing mountain is also. So you actually imply the des.
No, not really. Not really. You're actually saying this mountain climbing, I forgot.
Ah, okay.
I know in the original sentence was my hobbies are blah, 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 des.
Mm-mm.
But you're now saying, no, I forgot about this thing. So this last
Ah.
sentence is actually completely separate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But have you done this week's lesson yet?
In Tasogare?
Yes.
No, I didn't count.
Ah, okay. So this week's lesson, we actually use it completely in a different way.
The koto.
Well, nominalization
Ah, okay. Yeah,
without
I
using
will
des.
check.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to do it in 10 minutes actually. So you don't need to
Okay,
check.
so
Yeah. Okay. Guys, do you have all these adjectives written down for wa? And then for ga, it's these adjectives.
Where does the subarashi falls? What?
I knew, so my next point was going to be, but what if you guys say, but Andy, I can think of some adjectives which aren't in these categories. The answer is, I don't know. But if I try to categorize these two groups as best I can, I would say that anything which is a subjective experience, like subarashi, anything you kind of feel, that tends to sit inside wa. And anything which is more along the lines of an objective observation tends to fit inside ga. Now, you might say, well, ski and kirai are subjective. Well, actually, they are, but they're also not, because as na adjectives, sushi ga ski desu, I know this means we translate it as I like sushi, but it actually means sushi is likable. Ski and kirai are basically kind of nouns by themselves. Namasakana ga kirai desu. This means raw fish is hateable, is detestable. So it's also a kind of objective observation. So to answer your question, Tachi, I think subarashi would be wa. Yeah. Now, the most important thing actually for today is not to mix up these two uses of nominalization. Olakala? Okay. Sophie, are you okay? Yeah, okay. So now, just to embed this in our minds. So what was the first use of nominalization? Unmute yourselves, guys. Just a very quick one-line summary of the first type of nominalization and what the rule is.
Verb plus koto.
Which is used for?
Noun equals noun.
Excellent. And what's the second type of use?
Noun equals adjective.
Good. And the form of this is?
Verb no, wa, or ga plus adjective.
Perfect. Okay, that's all you have to really remember. If you confuse which adjective, whether to use wa or ga, because you're not sure which adjective it is, it doesn't matter. This is not a vital part. Yeah, it's just a kind of extra detail. Cool. Let's do some more exercises just to embed this. Just a second. Okay, we're just going to start from a clear page. We start from Sophie. Can you start? I know we've done this one already, but we're just going to do a bit of extra practice. Let's start with number 1. I like watching TV every Saturday with my daughter.
Okay. I like watching. So
Oh, we haven't done this one actually. Wait, this is a new one. So yeah, so over to you, Sophie.
Musume, my daughter.
Musume?
Musume wa?
No, this is with your daughter. So this is
Musume ni.
so
No,
what's the particle to say with?
To. To. No. Musume to. Terebi. Terebi. Watch. Miru. Miru. So we like, so it's the Noga thing.
Good.
Noga. So, ski des.
Perfect. Exactly this. Good. Excellent.
But so we left out Saturday.
Every Saturday.
Saturday it's not Kayobi.
It is Doyobi, but what's every Saturday?
Yeah, Doyobi. Doyobi. So it's my shoe. My shoe.
Not Doyobi. Good.
Not Doyobi.
Excellent. Maishu no Doyobi, musume to terebi o miru no ga suki desu. Perfect. Tachi, Jenny's hobby is collecting stamps.
With no?
You decide. You have to decide if this is no or koto, wa or ga.
Well, there is no adjective, so it has to be koto.
Uh-huh.
Jenny no shumi wa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vocabulary. What was it? Stamps and collecting?
Who can help?
Atsumeru?
Kitte. And then the verb, Costa?
Atsumeru.
Atsumeru.
No koto desu. Atsumeru koto desu.
Good God, I thought you nearly said no koto desu, huh?
Atsumeru koto desu.
Good, excellent. Jenny no shumi wa kitte o atsumeru koto desu. Good. Effie, driving to work in the mornings is not enjoyable.
Shigoto ni. Wait, I'll start with it in the mornings, actually.
Okay.
Asani.
Yeah, good.
Shigoto. Should I put still ni or e or something else now?
This is fine.
Okay. Shigoto ni unten suru wa tanoshiku nai. Tanoshiku nai desu? Is not enjoyable. Or should I say I hate it or something?
Not enjoyable. So tanoshi.
Tanoshiku nai desu.
And was it wa or ga?
Ga. Sorry, wa.
Wa.
Suru no wa. Tanoshiku nai desu.
Very good. Excellent. Costa, my target is to pass my. Oh, you did this one before, didn't you? Studying kanji is difficult when you are tired. Just click on the unmute button.
No, it's not that. It's sometimes when I press the space bar, it's working the unmute button. Sometimes it's the button of the Windows at the bottom, and I'm pressing this, and then everything is.
No problem.
Sorry for that. When you're tired, Tsukare tatoki.
Very good.
Kanji o benkyou suru. This is difficult. The difficult is muzukashii. Okay, so no wa muzukashii desu.
Very good. Excellent.
Quick question.
Yep.
Shouldn't we use ni after toki?
No. If you put ni after toki, it says it is when you are tired that studying kanji is difficult. But I don't want to be specifically to say, I don't want to specifically say that it's only when you're tired that the kanji is difficult. I just want to emphasize that when you're tired, it is difficult.
Hi.
Yeah. Tom, you can go back to this one. My target is to pass my geography exam this winter.
Kono fuju
Fuyu.
Kono
Yeah.
fuju no mokyo, watashi no mokyo.
Hang on a second. Right, so which is the right order for nos here?
I think so. This wind is first, and then no. Watashi no mokyo wa.
Good. Watashi no mokyo wa
Kono fuji.
fuyu.
Kono fuyu
Mhm.
no. I have the same problem.
I mean, to be
Shi
honest,
no chicken.
you could leave this as a time reference. You could say kono fuyu ni.
Kono fuji ni. And shi no chicken.
Chiri no shiken.
O gokaku suru koto desu.
Yes, good. Excellent, well done. Guys, I should probably just mention here, just as a little side point here, that any, let me write it in here, any verb using suru is already, what do you think it is? What do you think I'm going to say?
Nominalized.
Yeah, he's already nominalized. So actually, unten means driving. Benkyo means study. Study as a noun or a nominalized verb. Ryori, this means cooking. So these are actually already nominalized for you. So it's not a mistake to say, for example, the one that Effie did. This one here. Asa ni shigoto ni unten suru no wa tanoshiku nai desu. It's not a mistake to say asa ni shigoto ni unten wa tanoshiku nai desu. This is also completely correct. You can drop the suru no wa. You don't have to say it. But as this is a lesson in nominalization, I still want you to do it if we have a suru verb. It's good? Yeah. That was Tom. Back to Sophie. My job is repairing computers.
My job is repairing computers. Okay. Watashi no shigoto.
Yep.
Shigoto. Shigoto wa.
Good.
Yeah, pasokon.
Mhm.
Computer. Pasokon. Wo.
Mhm.
Naosu koto desu.
Very good. Perfect. Well done.
Yeah.
Tachi, repairing computers is not very interesting, but I have to do it.
Pasokon o naosu. No wa.
Yep.
面白くないけど、
Good.
ですが、
Kedo's fine. This is good.
けど、
Mhm.
しなければなりません。
Very good. Excellent. Well done. Effie, you get a double whammy here. You've got to do two of these.
Cambodia.
Yes. Did you do this before?
No.
Okay.
Cambodia ni Cambodia ni
Yep.
カンボディアに行ったことがありませんでした。
Koka arimasen.
でした。
Deshta?
No?
This means I had never been to Cambodia, not I have never been to Cambodia. So it's now suggesting that you are now in Cambodia.
I have so des.
But you've got arimasen at the end. Do we need des as well?
Isn't that the experience? But it's experience.
Yeah, but
So
we've already got what I would call a terminating term at the end here anyway. At the end of a sentence, you're either going to have a verb or des. You've got a verb already.
So it stops there then.
Yeah.
カンボジアに行ったことがありません.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then going to Cambodia is very difficult in the autumn.
What is the autumn? Aki?
Good.
Okay. 秋にカンボジアに行くのは
Good.
難しいで、ちょっと難しいね、とっても難しいです。
とっても難しいですね。はい。Good.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Costa, making Thai food with friends is extremely enjoyable. Not to confuse this with making Thai food from your friends is extremely enjoyable.
That's called cannibalism.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So, I'm making Thai food. Thai, no, with friends. Wait, I need to remember how we're gonna start it. With friends, okay. 友達と一緒に、タイ料理をextreme 大変 no 大変 is negative とても
You can use Taihen in the affirmative as well, actually.
yeah, I thought it was just for negative. Okay.
Often, but you can use it.
Okay. Can put 大変 then.
Taihen. Only trouble is this sentence doesn't have any structure now. Oriori or nani?
Yes. する
Suru.
enjoy enjoyable is the 楽しい is what のは
Good.
大変楽しいです
Very good. Excellent. Perfect. Tom. Assembling furniture feels good in a new house.
新しい家で
Yeah, that.
家具
Kagu. It's kagu.
家具
Mhm.
家具を組み立てる
Very good.
のは気持ちいいです。
Very good. Excellent. Cool. Good. Sophie, walking in good weather in the mountains feels so good.
Okay, now good weather. Genki, something.
Not genki.
Like
Tenki.
Tenki. So, ii tenki.
Good.
Good weather. Walking is aruku.
Good.
Um,
Tenki. So we should probably,
so,
to say walking in good weather, we can say I tenki ni.
ni.
Uh-huh.
Aruku, walking.
Remember, we've got mountains here as well, though.
Okay. Tenki ni yama.
Good.
Yama. Ni. Again, walking.
Well, we're doing something in the mountains, so this is going to be yama, not ni, but yama de. Yes.
Yama de. Okay. Yama de. So now, I tenki ni yama de. So feels good.
We need walking.
Good.
We need walking. Now,
Walking.
don't we?
So now, aruku.
Yep.
Now with what feels? We could use nowa.
Good. Yep.
Kimochi ga ii desu.
Kimochi ga ii desu ne. Hai. Excellent. Well done. Tachi, I hate cleaning my room.
How do you know?
This is, I mean, like all of these sound like things that everybody could say yes to.
部屋を
Yep.
掃除するのが
Good.
嫌いです。
Very good. Well done. Cool. Effie, Martin is very good at playing guitar.
マーティンさんは
Martin さんは
ギターを弾くのが
Good.
very 上手です。No, there must be
Sure.
other words other than とても。
Cho, let's use cho. Cho jozu desu.
Very totemo
Very, very
desu.
juicy.
Uh,
皆さん、
if
明
you
け
said
ましておめでとう。
this is good, wasn't it? I love him. If you said Betty jozu desu, you would be understood. Betty is now become
Betty?
Japanized. Yeah, Betty,
Betty.
Betty. Yeah,
Very, very,
Betty, Betty.
very
Yeah.
desu.
Betty jozu desu. Yeah. I find this particular sentence example, it was really useful for me to learn this, that we should use nominalization for this, because before learning this for this lesson, saying this kind of thing, like saying, oh, Tanaka sensei is very good at doing taikai, it was like, how the hell do you say this? Tanaka sensei no taikai no shikata wa jouzu desu. It's not his method of doing taikai. Tanaka sensei wa taikai ni jouzu desu. That also doesn't really work. Tanaka sensei wa taikai o yoku dekimasu. This also doesn't feel right either. But using nominalization, you could describe exactly how somebody can do something without using hikikata or yarikata or any of this kind of stuff, which makes it sound clunky. You can just use nominalized verbs. So this actually means Martin's guitar playing is good. This is what we're saying, isn't it? He's skillful. And Costa, Marianne is not very skilled at using scissors.
Okay, good. Marianne. Oh my god, I just remembered. Ha.
Ha.
Marianne. Hasami. No, it's not hasami.
Oh, scissors. Right, sorry.
Yeah.
Hasami. Yeah.
Hasami. Hasami o 使うのが下手です。
Very good. Yes. Excellent.
あ、
Good.
下手。I said,
What did you
I
say?
said 下手。
Hentai. His way of using scissors is perverted. Well, this could be true. Excellent. Well done. Any questions, guys? Ola kala? Kala. Okay, on to today's lesson. You guys okay? Do you want a 1 minute break to jump around and... No? All good? Okay. Back to the presentation. Thankfully, we're going to do more nominalization. Hooray! But as you can see so far, it's actually quite useful. There are so many different, when you actually want to have a conversation with somebody about something, which isn't just, I am going to the library or I like cheese. If it needs to be more complex than this, then almost certainly you will end up using nominalization. So just to summarize so far then, this is what your notes should say basically. If you're going to say one noun, hobby, job, objective is a nominalized verb, then you must use koto. If you're saying that a nominalized verb is an adjective, if you're describing it, then use no. and then wa or ga. You can use koto here, but only if you're writing it down. And then wa seems to be for subjective experiences, and ga seems to be objective observations. Now, on to today's class, verbing, which is what nominalization is. So far, we've used nominalization to describe having an experience. So, itta koto ga arimasu. Expressing an ability. Sushi o taberu koto ga dekimasu. Equating a nominalized verb to a noun. Watashi no shumi wa yama no noboru koto desu. And describing a nominalized verb with an adjective. Kago o kumitateru no ga kirai desu. So we've already got 4 different tools for nominalization. Is it cold where you are, I think? No? It is a bit here. So just remember, we have to try and memorize when to use wa, when to use ga. If you make a mistake with those adjectives, it really doesn't matter, to be honest. But now let's use no as a nominalization to express the perception of something happening, when we sense something happening. For example, I saw the child throw a stone. Now look at this sentence for a second and really understand what it's saying. I saw a child throwing a stone. Okay, now this is quite a complex sentence because it contains 2 verbs, saw and throwing, 2 subjects, I and the child, and 2 object markers, o for miru and o nageru, to throw. So there's already some complexity here. We need to make sure that we do this correctly. So the way to do this, to make it very neat and easy to understand, is we make a subclause. The child throw a stone. Don't worry about the past tense or the present tense for now. Let's just keep this as a subclause. Child throw a stone, and then we say I saw. So the tense is going to be indicated by this part here. Olakala? So the construction of this is we put the thing that you saw, I call this a phenomena, in the plain present or the present continuous. So this is either going to be suru or, for example, suru or shite iru. It won't be the past. It will be the present or the present continuous. And then no, that's our nominalizer. And then ga or o, this ga or o depends on the verb we next have, what kind of perception verb this is. When you finish writing notes, guys, I'd like you to do the walk like alliteration to make it feel warm. Okay, good. Again, a 1980s recall.
You know,
Okay,
they
Sophie?
use it also in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
One more time?
You know, they use it also in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure at the end credits. Walk like an Egyptian. You don't know JoJo?
JoJo? Is it a movie?
Yes, it's an anime.
Anime? No, I haven't
JoJo's
seen it.
Bizarre Adventure. I mean, come on, guys.
Sorry, I'm
It's
very,
too bizarre.
I'm very primitive with anime. I know the big ones. I've seen Akira, but yeah, I'm nowhere near as up to date with anime as you guys are. Everybody okay so far with this construction? You need to write this down if you don't already have it, but I think you've already written it down. Right. So the answer to this one, I saw the child throw a stone. You'll see that this subclause is in the plain present tense. Kodomo ga ishi o nageru. Keep this in the present tense. No ga miemashita. So the past tense of this sentence is being made by the miemashita. When to use ga, when to use o. So we've got these perception verbs, miru, which actually means to watch rather than to see. Mieru, this means to see. Kiku, to listen to, or to hear human voices and understand what they're saying. Kikoeru, to hear noise, not human conversation. And kanjiru, to feel. Of course, you've got other tenses as well, like smell and taste, but it's quite unusual to smell somebody throwing a stone. Well, I suppose you could say, I can smell somebody cooking, couldn't you?
Something, not somebody.
Oh yeah, sorry. No, I meant somebody cooking something else. I can smell Margaret cooking. I think in 1 hour she'll be finished and ready to eat.
The perverts and the cannibalism in this group is I cannot say.
There's no other YouTube channel like this. So if we use or if we use ga, is defined whether on this perception verb, if we're using a state verb. Now amongst these perception verbs here, the only state verbs are mieru and kikoeru. So these use ga. These use ga for mieru and kikoeru. For all the other perception verbs, we use o.
I didn't understand the last part. Can you repeat, please?
Sure, of course, yeah. So whether we use ga or o in this place here, if we use state verbs, these are mieru and kikoeru, we use ga. For all of the other perception verbs, miru, kiku, and kanjiru, we use o. Effie, that looks like a painful expression on your face. Are you okay? Okay. Oh, that was it. That's the end of the grammar part, actually. Any questions, guys? We will do some examples, of course. Okay. Everybody ready to go? Olakala? Excellent. Oh, come on. Sorry, just got to find the questions. There it is. Okay, let's do these really slowly. I don't mind if you make mistakes, guys, but I want you to think your way through the sentence construction so that you become experts at working out how to construct the sentence rather than how to quickly answer the question. Tom, would you like to go first? I heard my friends talking yesterday.
Kino,
No?
tomodachi.
Good. Oops.
And then we say o.
Tomodachi.
They're talking together. So to then.
This is my friends talking to each other.
So doesn't to then work with
Sorry, Tom, one more time.
to? Does it work? To in ishoni.
Tomodachi. If you say to ishoni, this means I was talking with them.
Then I'm included.
Yeah.
Then no, because the subject, so it's just tomodachi ga. Sorry.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah.
sorry. Hanashite iru.
Good. Hanashite iru.
And then no.
Yep.
O.
Good.
Kikimashita.
Yes, good. Okay, so let's just be completely clear why Tom used o and kikimashita. I did say it earlier, but I want you to be completely happy. If it's human conversation, if you use kikoeru, it's not a big mistake. But you should really use kiku, because if it assumes you heard it and you understand it, then this is listening, not hearing. So o and kiku is correct for human conversation. If it's dog conversation, if you can understand it, then you can still use kiku. If it's cat conversation, I don't believe you can understand that because they speak in secret ways that humans can't understand. If it's hamster conversation, why are you guys still writing stuff down? This is a joke.
Not writing what you're saying.
Okay, since it said dog conversation.
But the kikoeru, isn't it like passively listening to my friends? Because I heard my friends, so I sit back and I listen to them. It's not that I.
It sounds different, doesn't it? I mean, if you just hear voices, but you can't actually understand what they're saying, then this is kikoeru. I can hear people talking. But if you actually hear the conversation and you understand what they're saying, then this is kiku still. I listened to. Costa, you're next.
Okay. So much. Stuff with the verb. Yeah, I'm getting too much. Okay. No to steal. So the man steal my wallet in the library. Okay. So, Tosho Kani. I'm always playing 50-50 and always getting drunk. Okay. Watashi no saifu o so perception actively watch. No wa saifu nusumu.
Oh, nosumu, yeah.
Nusumu. No wa nimashita.
So there's you've got a choice, o or ga.
Who?
No
No, o.
Mimashita.
Okay. I can't see the man in this sentence yet.
Yeah. I can say the adorable, but the hito.
Yeah. What is man though? Do you remember man?
Kanojo is the woman.
Otoko.
Well, it actually means she.
Danshi.
Dansei,
Ah,
danshi. Yeah.
I need to remember.
Dansei is man, danshi is boy. So
I just-
danse, what's the particle?
Ga.
Ga.
Because it's watashi wa.
Mhm.
Dansei ga.
This actually means at the moment, I watched the man steal my wallet. Like I was sitting there, I saw him steal the wallet and I watched him running away. But this is slightly different. This is they like to spot somebody, to see something. So it's,
So I need to put the mieru.
yep,
So I need to put no ga
good.
miemasta.
Yes, good, exactly. Effie, we've broken the fourth wall. You've become part of the example question, and you're answering it. This is amazing. It's like the Matrix.
Inception.
Yeah. And that's really weird. I can now hear your husband playing piano. Amazing.
Maybe it's me.
Yeah, it could. Well, it must be.
In another dimension.
This is meta, Effie.
Yes. So, here, Effie playing the piano. Effie chan ga. Effie chan ga.
Chamaga.
Tama. Oh my God.
It's a special name.
Piano hiku no ga
Mhm.
kikoemasu.
Yes, good. Exactly.
Isn't he pulling the strings?
Yep, this is correct.
Yeah,
Piano
that's exactly what
Okay.
it is.
Okay, this is an argument you musicians will have to have with each other. Is a piano a string instrument or a percussive instrument?
Yes, yes.
Even if it's string, nothing pulls the string. Something hits the
Yeah.
string.
This is an argument you'll have to have amongst yourselves.
It's a Japanese people just want to watch the world burn, I guess.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
Yes, basically, it's a string instrument. It's hiku still. Yeah. Utsu is only for percussion. Is piano a percussive
I'll call
instrument?
Yamaha and discuss.
I know some people do play piano like it's a percussive instrument, but I don't think it's supposed to.
yeah. But
I
it
suppose-
used to be hiku because the how do you say, ancestors of piano instruments were not with
Precursors.
hammers. They were with like pinching the.
Ah,
So it used to be like pinching. It was like
right.
this.
Plucking it.
Time ago.
Yeah. So it was. They had different mechanisms.
Right.
So maybe that's why.
Ah. I think they just said it's a string instrument. You pull it, you pluck it. Yeah.
It's funny to hear that from Japanese people that make very good quality
Pretty good
pianos.
pianos. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, really, piano or utsu means to hit a piano with something, which isn't exactly how you play a piano.
The
So,
hammer.
yeah.
Exactly.
Baseball the bat de piano o uchimashita.
Yamete kudasai.
Okay, good. Tachi, when I was younger, I watched my father fixing the car.
Younger.
Smaller, actually.
小さいから?
So
When I
you have
was
some
younger.
choices here, actually. You can either say chisai toki,
Toki.
yeah, or you can use chisai koro. This means the time at which I was, the period when I was small.
It doesn't make any meaning to me. Toki is something I understand.
Okay.
小さい時、お父さんが
You haven't done today. You haven't done this week's thingy. If it's your father, what would you say?
父
Chichi. Good.
父が
Yep.
車を
Mm-hmm.
直すのが見えました。
Okay. This is grammatically
Mimashita.
correct, but this
Mimashita.
means, yeah. I mean, it's not. This is not correct. This is not grammatically incorrect. But this means I saw my father. Like I saw him on one occasion fixing the car. But this is I'm watching. So this would be no or, and then what's the verb?
見る見ました。
Imashita. Exactly. Yeah.
はい。
Sophie, I can feel the ground shaking. Sounds like a song by what was it? I think we're alone now. What's her name again? You guys are all too young for this.
The only
Tiffany.
kanjiru koto ga dekimasu. That's the only thing I can.
Okay, well this is pretty good, but this isn't the nominalization I want though. So I can feel. What was the verb you used?
Kimoto, what? Kanjiru.
Kanjiru. So we can put that in at the end. Kanjiru. Oops.
Koto ga dekimasu. That's
No,
the
the potential.
kanjiru.
Right?
Yeah. Kanjiru.
It's the ground shaking that I want nominalized.
Some help.
Sure. Okay. Who knows what ground is?
Shijo.
One more time, Tom.
Shijo.
Chijo. Like this.
Yes, but I think it's with a C.
Oh, Chijo.
No, yeah. Chijo, cheese, something like that. I remember
Amen.
cheese, blood and ground, I think.
Okay. Let's put in the options. Be within a second.
I thought it was the same as blood. Ground.
Chijo. Chijo-u. This means above ground. Chijo. This means above ground. Somebody said something else. Jimen. This means the surface of the ground.
What do you feel then?
So actually, the ground itself, the earth itself, is tsuchi. Tsuchi.
There was a chi.
Yeah. So chi, it actually means the earth, but we have to make sure it's the right kind of description of it. Okay, back to you, Sophie.
So what? Chuchi? No.
Mm,
No, I can feel the earth. Chuchi. Chuchi. Feel. Shaking.
okay. Now you might end up with the wrong verb here, so I'm going to tell you what it is. It's unless somebody knows it off the top of their heads. What do we talk about the ground shaking? This is
Earthquake?
yes, but that's English.
So shake. We'll say shake.
Shake.
No.
Okay. Tsuchi ga. This is yureru. There are different verbs for shaking, but it depends whether or not it's something which is freely moving, something which is fixed to a pivot, like my elbow, my hand. This is fureru. Something object freely moving is yureru.
Okay. Oh.
We need to nominalize this first.
Yureru. So koto ga.
No.
Yureru. It's a no.
No. It's a no.
No ga.
Yes.
No ga.
Is it ga or o?
Oh ga or oh. So it's a feeling. So it is oh.
Very good.
No.
This is correct. Very good. Okay, Tom, I can see Kim driving his car. It looks very dangerous.
Kim-san ga unten suru.
Nani o unten shite imasu ka?
Kuruma.
Yep.
Oh. Unten. I thought the unten already. No, you can also drive. No, you can not drive a bus. That's no. We can drive a bus. That's even more dangerous. Yeah. Unten suru no. Ga.
Yep.
Miemasu.
Very good. Miemasu. Looks very dangerous.
Abunasou desu.
Very good. Abunasou desu.
Totemo abunasou desu. Mecha abunasou.
Mecha abunasou desu.
Yeah. Or is that too casual? Mecha.
Well, you guys are starting to learn casual stuff anyway, so I don't mind. Cho abunasou desu. Costa. I listen to my brother singing, but I cannot sing very well myself.
Isn't Abunasaso this?
Abunai. No, it's Abunasodes.
Okay.
That was
No.
a mistake I made really early on.
Bodo.
Maybe you didn't hear the correction. So,
I listen to singing, but I cannot sing very well myself. Too many of those. So the first part I'm gonna do it normally.
instead of abnormally.
Yeah, the first part I listen to my brother. Watashi no ani ga.
If you say Annie, this already means
It's
watashi no.
already okay.
Yeah.
Ani ga.
Mhm.
So I can say the sing. I heard the singing.
Mhm.
Ume. No.
That's plum.
Uma.
Uma, that's horse. Just go through all the words and we'll eventually reach the right one.
I know it's with U. I know
It
it.
is. Effie?
Uta. Uta.
Uta. Hey, I was very close. I will go through every U.
Uta? Yeah.
Glad we didn't start at A.
Utaru.
Utao.
Utao. Okay. Uta is the song. Utao is the singing. Okay.
Si.
Utao. I listened. So Utao no. O.
Mhm.
Kikimasta.
Very good.
Should I do it is singing? So should I use the utateiru?
You can. It doesn't really matter too much, actually.
Okay. Sing ga.
Mhm.
私は歌を Oh Jesus.
Sorry.
No. No. I cannot sing very well. Aspetta. It needs to be very well.
That's better.
No, Joju. Noga,
Mhm.
Joju, dewa arimasen.
Very good. Well done.
Ah.
Excellent. Yay. Okay, good. Tom. No, sorry, Effie. I think I can hear Wayne eating sushi in the kitchen. That must be very crunchy sushi if you can hear him eating. I think I can hear your hubby playing piano in the bedroom.
In the back. 台所で、ウェンさんが寿司を食べるの。Wait, I'm stuck now. Wait, what? 食べるのが、Now I have to do と思いました。聞こえ Wait, because I have to do the 聞こえるけど and then と思いました。
I
と
think
思い
it's
ます。と思います
Yeah, exactly. Good.
But is there so I don't have to change the 聞こえる, right?
No,
Just
this is
聞こえる
fine.
と思います。
Yeah. What I would say though, Effie, is this sounds like at the moment you are in the kitchen because of brackets and subclauses.
How do you do it then if you're like in the other room and you think that somebody else is somewhere else? 台所に
By doing that.
you
Wayne-san ga daidokoro de. This is now set Wayne-san as the subject of the next part of the subclause.
Okay.
Because basically at the very beginning, unwritten, we've got what?
私は
Watashi wa. And then you said daidokoro de. So this now says watashi wa daidokoro de. Me in the kitchen. Wayne I can hear. Yeah.
It's like from importance, like you start with okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Cool, good. Sophie's disappeared.
No,
Oh, you're here. Oh, just
Yeah,
your camera's gone.
okay.
Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. It just got dark in Greece suddenly. I can see my sister tidying her room. Are you muted, Sophie?
nothing works on it. Anega, Anega, Heya, the room, Heya O.
Good.
But tidying, I don't remember tidying.
Can anybody remember what tidying was?
Katazakeru something.
Really close.
Katazukeru.
Very good. Katazukeru.
Katazukeru, katazukete.
Good.
Iro. So she's tidying. Noga.
Good.
Miemasu.
Very good. Well done.
Okay, let's see.
Have you lost Tachi? Yeah. Cool. Excellent. And then, well done. That was good, Sophie. Tom, I can hear a strange voice. I can hear a strange voice. Maybe it's Andy.
Hen no koe.
Henna koe.
Henna koe. Yeah, it's an adjective. Just henna koe. No.
This is actually a simpler sentence than the rest of them. It's just
Then it's kind so just ga.
yeah.
Kikoe mashita. And then mas kikoemasu.
Mas. Yeah.
Tabun andi desu.
Okay, exactly. Tabun andi desu. Cool. Good. Well done, guys. Excellent. Any questions? Ola kala? Ola kola? Ola kolo oli?
Hola kala, hola kolos.
Hola, καλά παιδιά.
Ola kolos? Ola
Ola
kolos?
kola yode.
Konstantina, don't teach him bad words. Fui.
Cool. Okay, guys, well done. Otsukaresama deshita.
お疲れ様です。
お疲れ様でした。
またね。気をつけて。
またね。
じゃあね。またね。
うん